This is Talk is Sheep, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Society of BC, brought to you by Sitka Game. Come along as we bring conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Good evening, Mr. Stelter. How are you today?
Excellent, Dr. Rensmag. How is the doctor this evening?
I'm doing good. Enjoying a little bit of sunny weather down here in the lower mainland. So what's it like over there on sunny Victoria for you?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Spring sprung and gardens going in. On our last episode, 122, we talked about the transmission film. We talked about Jennifer Bowes. Jennifer Bowes is doing a project. It's called Reimagining the Ties That Bind. And basically what it is that she's taking wool from Movi-free sheep and she's turning them into wool pellets that you can use in the garden. And so what it does is it has a much higher moisture retention. It acts as a fertilizer. It's been very effective. There's a bunch of studies that have gone out on it, and she's selling them. She's got these. It's a project that the society worked with her on. We went to HCTF for funding. We put a little bit of money into it, and then sales get kicked back to us to basically get our investment back. And really cool project. So I've ordered a couple of these bags of these wool. And these wool pellets they are, and I'm going to see what they're like. So I've got actually my garden, I've got it split in 3/4. I'm going to run with the wool, and the other quarter I'm going to run without it, and I'm just going to see what sort of production difference we see. But I'm pretty excited about it. So that was a nice segue into my spring gardening here. So my garlic's already up about 8 inches, and as soon as I get this wool from Jennifer, I'm going to start mending my garden boxes, and then start getting some stuff on the ground here pretty soon. Getting excited.
So when am I coming over for the sheep garden dinner at the Stelters?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get them on the Traeger, and yeah, for sure. No, we definitely got to do something like that. And actually, that's something we should try and do as a board this summer. We should try and get everyone together and. Yeah, kind of it's tough, right? Because we got guys up north and, in the interior and island. It's always difficult to get people together, especially, we're so segregated.
Yeah, well, it's the beautiful thing about BC. It's so big and the sheep are everywhere, so we're everywhere, it seems. Kind of fitting, I suppose. This episode, though, episode 123 here with Russell and Cami Cunningham. It's kind of neat the reach this podcast has. When we were down in Reno, just doing our thing, talking Wild Sheep Society of BC, we didn't even have a sign up or anything that said the Talk is Sheep podcast. And Russell approached us in the booth, introduced himself, big fan of ours, big fan of the society, and let us in on a little story before the Wild Sheep Foundation announced it to everybody. And that's the incredible feat that his daughter accomplished, Cami, the youngest female ever to complete a slam, and probably would have been younger if the big COVID didn't get in the way.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal. A young girl like that, and just so driven, and just the support of our family. Like achievement like that, to get your FNAWS, right? It's like just for like. A normal person to do that, right? But for a young girl like that, and to have the support of her family and to achieve that, and it's inspiring to see what she's done. And I love the legacy and the spirit of family that Russell talks a lot about on the podcast. And of course, we've seen the film too at Sheep Week as well, right? That was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, and we'll in the words to this, or the write-up for this podcast, there'll be a link to the video as well for people to watch and, to listen to the passion in Cami's voice and Russell's voice as they're talking about it. It's quite the stories that went with these hunts, and it's just an incredible family down there in Texas.
Yeah, the one thing that blows me away is this young girl shooting like she does. Like, it's one thing to get on the mountain, hiking around and doing all that sort of stuff and riding horseback, but listen to the grizzly bear story and watch the video. And I won't say anything more than that, but She's got it all put together. She's done it all, right? She's put the time in. She's hiked. She's rode those horses. She's shot, and she did it. She bloody has a FNAWS. It's incredible. Hard to believe.
Yeah, and man, she's reaching out with those long distances, and she's using one of our conservation partners' firearms, the Gunworks. And I know that might segue into something else here, but we have one heck of a raffle, the Super 6, or the 6 rifle Super raffle right now. And the grand prize is the Gunworks Climber 300 PRC.
Yeah, talk about a setup, hey? So our longtime conservation partner and a really good friend of the society, Precision Optics and Omer, put together the 6-gun raffle. He approached us a couple of years ago now and said, hey, let's put this together. I think we could do something really special. He goes, I'll go out, I'll use my industry contacts, we'll get these rifles. So we got 6 rifles. Do you have them listed there? Do you have the whole list right in front of you? So just go through them because it's crazy.
So number 1 is the grand prize is the Gunworks Climber 300 PRC with Leupold Mark V. The early bird draws the Fierce CT Rival 7mm Rem Mag with Leica Amplus optics on it. The second prize is a Fierce CT Edge 28 Nosler with I want to say Callus optics on there. It's really small.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Third prize is the Weatherby Mark V Backcountry TI 280 Ackley with a Swaro Z5 on there. Number 4 is the Fierce Carbon Rage 300 Rum with a Zeiss Conquest V4. And fifth prize is Christensen Arms Ridgeline FFT 308 Winchester sporting a Leupold VX5. So, what an incredible lineup.
$54,000 in prizes. If that doesn't get you, so one ticket and you get in for all 6 chances. So the odds are pretty good. Like, of course, they say like odds are 1 in whatever for the grand prize, but there's 6 prizes on this one. There's an early bird draw. I think we're drawing that in June, and we're going to draw that up in Courtenay at the Whistle Stop Pub. So we're going to do a pub night up there. There'll be more details on that coming out. So get your tickets early because it's going to get you in for that 6th rifle, which we're going to draw early. And then if you buy after that, you still got 5 chances to win. Still great odds, but $54,000 in prizes, $50 a ticket, and what a cool setup. And again, the one thing, Greg, is what do? We put sheep on the mountains. We're a conservation org. Omer and these industry partners have donated this 100%. We've got zero skin in the game. Now we have some administrative fees. We have to pay, administrative costs to host the raffle. But for the most part, the bulk of those funds is going to go back to wild sheep conservation in the province. So, what can you do to support wild sheep? Yeah, buy a membership. Donations. But you know what? Get a ticket for a 1 in 6 chance of winning some kick butt rifles, $54,000 in prizes, and you're going to help wild sheep conservation. This is as good as it gets when it comes to industry working together, conservation organization working together, and our membership and our supporters getting chances to win some really cool prizes and not that much money, $50 a ticket.
Yeah, and you don't want to sleep on this one. The tickets are going quick, and they were a hot commodity at the outdoor show. So jump on them. Yeah. Don't miss out on this one. It's gonna go sooner rather than later. So
and that bloody Gunworks Climber is beautiful, man. I picked one up a few years ago, and it's so beautiful to shoot. Mine's a 6.5 PRC, and it's absolutely. It's butter, man. It's so juicy. That's this one's a 300 PRC, so it's not. I've just got a little kitty gun that doesn't hurt when you shoot it, so you can shoot it all day. But pretty sweet setup. So
no, that's a 6.5 PRC is a good caliber. I shoot one as well. So, but on that note, let's roll into episode 123 with Russell and Cami Cunningham. Enjoy.
This episode is sponsored by our conservation partner, Precision Optics. Thank you, Sitka Gear and Precision Optics, for investing in healthy wildlife and sustainable ecosystems.
All right, this is such a cool episode of Talking Sheep. Greg and I had the opportunity to be down at Sheep Week, and we had the opportunity to see a fantastic film that the Cunningham family put together about an incredible achievement. And so we're really excited to have Russell Cunningham and Cami Cunningham on the show today to talk about what it takes to be a sheep hunter. And it seems like the resume is pretty full when we talk to you two here. So pretty stoked about it. And I guess before we kind of kick off, let's just start with you, Cami. How old are you? And just a little bit about who Cami Cunningham is when in everyday life.
I'm Cami Cunningham. I'm 13 years old, and I'm in 8th grade, so I go to school. And I team rope, and I sing and play lots of instruments. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool resume.
And hunting, yes.
It sounds like you do some hunting too. That's the rumor. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I've heard that you can hunt as well. So, and we're going to talk lots about that today. Russell, how about you? Let's talk a little bit about where you're from and kind of what brings you here today.
Well, I'm a 5th generation Texas raised, rancher of sorts, but my profession is other than ranching. But our family, the Cunninghams, moved to the panhandle of Texas in the 1870s. But we've migrated down, and we're in central Texas now. And I'm 48 years old, and we're fortunate to live here on the ranch adjacent to where I was raised, in a wild place that's pretty close to the big city where I can actually get some work done. But we're big into hunting and all the wild things. We rodeo, and we're living a great life right here in on the ranch.
That's awesome. And so, Russell, I think from what I understand, you talked about 5th generation, but you also you're multi-generational hunting. And I read a story about you where I think you were 10 years old and you went on your sheep hunt. Your dad introduced you to sheep hunting, and you sort of made a commitment or a vow or a pledge to yourself that you were going to do the same for your family. You talk a little bit about, where that came from, and was your dad an avid hunter? Obviously, he must have been into it if he was, sheep hunting and taking you at 10 years old. But
yeah, so my dad grew up pretty wild, and I say wild, we're out in the country and not really tethered, lots of rain. His folks didn't really do a whole lot of hunting, but they did. They farmed a lot, and so they did some rabbit hunting and lots of fishing and mainly hard work back then on the ranches. But he raised my brother and me to be tough, independent young guys, and we had a lot of free reign. And growing up, we did a lot of hunting and fishing, and our big thing. My favorite thing growing up was hunting rabbits. And I'm sure that's how a lot of people get started. But, the small game I was just eating up with it. Spend, hours on end out chasing rabbits and doing our thing. And the big game hunting came in for us at, hunting deer. And I shot my first deer when I was 6. Dad took us out a couple hours from the ranch to another place, and we just had some incredible experiences bonding and being with the guys, and it was just amazing growing up that way. And so Dad really wasn't into big game hunting. They didn't have a lot of money growing up. When he did finally get into big game hunting, it was one of his friends that got him into it. He had gone to Alaska, one of his friends did, and came back and was telling Dad about it. And so my dad and his brother went up to the Brooks Range in, I think it was 1984, hunting moose and bear. And Dad tells the story about when he left to go up there, he was just yearning to have the boys with him. He just kind of felt sick about being up in that amazing place without us, which I can absolutely relate to. But anyway, they got up, and he and his brother had some incredible experiences together, and they were successful killing moose and bear. And Dad talks about while they're hunting, looking up into the mountains and seeing the sheep, and talking to his guide up there about the sheep, and he couldn't get his mind off sheep. And you guys know how that is, right? You see one of them, and they just reel you in. And so while he was up there, he was like, I got to bring my boys. And at that point, I was 9 and my brother was 11. And so after a very successful hunt up there, he came home and told his guide that he was going to bring us up the next year on a Dall sheep hunt. And so he got home, and he brought the bear cape. Still hadn't been fleshed. I guess they froze it and brought it down. So I remember vividly sitting out and stretching that bear cape out, and we as a family, the three of us, sit down and flesh that bear cape. And he told us about the experience and the adventure. And man, I was absolutely on the edge of my seat just listening to all this and taking it in and super excited about it. And so he told us he was going to take us up there Dall sheep hunting. And that is absolutely all I could think about that entire year. We had other stuff going on. We were in the team roping and in the rodeo world and doing other stuff. But in the back of my mind, that is it, sheep hunting. And it was on my mind, buddy.
It's a bit of a sickness, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So
did you end up getting a ram on that trip that you went up there on then?
Yes, sir. So we went up, and we, got to Fairbanks, and we went and bought our licenses, and the guy behind the counter was looking at my dad kind of funny, and thought he was crazy for taking us youngsters up there. He said, boy, it's tough up there. It's cold and it's a hard hunt. And he'd already been through that. His buddies at home were telling him the same thing, that it was kind of strange that he's taking us up there. And man, he had all the confidence in the world in us. We get up there, and our guide was super pumped. He was behind us 100%. And yeah, so we were both successful. My brother and I both killed sheep. Of course, my girls got me beat on the age and the size, but man, it was one of those sheep hunts that if you're a sheep hunter, it's not a gimme. There's not a gimme Dall sheep. And it was tough, buddy. I mean, it was something else. And the highs and lows of that trip were just incredible. And I get goosebumps sitting here talking about it. But I think you brought up the point that when the hunt was over, we killed caribou. We each killed a caribou. Well, I killed a caribou in a sheep. My brother killed a sheep and had not gotten his caribou. Crazy thing is, the guide was like, hey, just leave. My brother's name is Clint. He was 12. It's like, just leave Clint up here, and he can help flesh hides and help run camp. And when we have time, we'll take him out and get him a caribou. So my dad and I left. And nowadays, you could imagine the mothers and the squawking that would go on that deal. But Clint ended up spending 2 weeks up there. And he had some great experiences, and had a grizzly come into camp, and he helped other clients out, and he ended up getting just a beautiful caribou. And my dad called up there and was wondering where his son was. He's like, "What's going on?" They didn't even have satellite phones. He got a hold of the outfitter's wife, and she said, "Well, Dan Holloman was his name, bit of an outlaw, I think, but." He was, Dan will be back in a month. And I'm sure your son's okay. And so my dad was about to get on a flight and go up there. And literally the next day, he got a call from my brother. He was in Seattle and said, I've made it to Seattle. I'll be on this certain flight. And, that's how it was. It wasn't that long ago, but man, we could get back to that pretty quick. It'd be nice to, and I'm trying to raise my daughters that way, give them some autonomy. I think that's a little much there for the girls. I wouldn't leave them in camp for 2 weeks. But so anyway, as I'm flying out of camp in the Cub, I looked out the window and I just had that feeling that, man, this is a life changer. And I did make the commitment to myself that I was going to bring my daughters on this hunt. And I had this premonition that I was going to have daughters when I was about 8 years old. And it was such a strong feeling that I never wavered from that feeling. And so anyway, that's a little side note, but I looked out the window and told myself, I'm going to bring my daughters when they're 10 years old on this, because what an incredible thing this has been for me to see what God's country is and to be amongst the beauty of the mountains and the last frontier. And, man, it's redirected my life. And ever since that day, my focus has been driven towards being successful enough in life to bring my children, because I knew it wasn't enough. My daddy wasn't going to pay my way again and pay for my kids. It was time for me to take responsibility and to have the drive and the initiative to make the choices to be successful in life and to afford the opportunity for my family.
That's a pretty cool story. And I kind of like to hear your perspective on it, Cami. So now you're a young lady, you're growing up, and obviously your dad's got this sheep bug, this fever, this passion. So when did you contract the disease? Was this at a very young age, or at 10 it was like, okay, wake up, we're going to Alaska to go Dall sheep hunting? Tell us your story, how you got there.
Well, when I was younger, I hunted deer and turkey and stuff on the ranch. And whenever I was 10, my dad told us that he was going to take me up there. So I was really excited for that. And after that, I really wanted to do it like more, I guess. And yeah. So after that, we found out that I could be the youngest female to do it. So then we decided to go for it. So, and I really enjoyed it.
So it didn't start out as a quest. It just started out as, this is an experience about hunting, but somewhere along the way, it's like, oh, there's some milestones we could do here too. There's some accomplishments. So Russell, like in your mind, in the back of your head, were you always thinking, it'd be cool for my girl to be that person, or was it just something that's kind of unfolded or evolved? And I know that with any quest in life, there's always obstacles, and you guys definitely had some, namely this worldwide disease that we always talk about these days. But tell me a little bit about your view and your perspective on it.
Yeah, so I've only killed one sheep, and that was when I was 10 years old, and I'm a sheep hunter. I mean, it's one of those, it's kind of odd. I'd never thought about it for myself to chase all four, but it just started about, I know what that Dall sheep did for me, and I wanted my daughters to have that Dall sheep experience. And then we were at the Dallas Safari Club, and Cami saw some taxidermy of all four all together, and she said, "Dad, get a picture of me." And she's holding her arms up, like looking up at the sheep, and still didn't even hit me. I hadn't thought about it. And then on the way home, I was thinking, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And that's how I live my life. And I was like, I looked back at Cami in the back seat. Remember that day, Cami? I was like, what about going for the Grand Slam and being the youngest female? I mean, surely we can look into it and see what that's all about. And you remember that? Yeah, her eyes lit up. And, my wife, Carly, looked at me and was like, wow, that'd be pretty cool. And I said, well, I mean, it's going to be a monumental effort, and it's going to cost a lot of money and sacrifice, and there's going to be a lot to go into it. And it's fun to talk about it. So that's kind of how it percolated there a little bit. And next thing you know, Cami and I had decided, yeah, that's something that we want to do. And I looked it up, and I think Sarah Brandenburg was 16 when she did it. She's an amazing woman. And if I can just raise my daughters to be like these strong, tough women that are hunters, like, the Demoskis and the Tituses and, the Wallers of the world. And this is going to be a cool experience. And so that's how that ball got rolling. So the next thing you know, I was trying to figure out how we can get some of this booked. And of course, a lot of the sheep hunting is booked out for years. And so I got some friends of mine to help me figure things out. And next thing you know, I'm flying out to Reno, staying with a friend of mine, Ryan Cedars, and we're looking at, he's helping me figure the deal out. And so we went and talked to Blair and Rebecca Miller of Stone and Folding, and just presented that to them. And you'd think that a lot of these outfitters would kind of put the brakes on when they hear that a 10-year-old female is wanting to come kill a stone sheep. We talked to Jim Breck Bean out at High West Outfitters in Texas for the desert, and everyone we talked to was just really all in. They're leaning forward and wanting to know, wow, this is pretty incredible. And I told them that, I have some pretty amazing, tough young ladies, and we can get it done. And they kind of felt our passion, and I think they felt that we were sincere. And so we started kind of booking things up, and it just really the ball just kind of started rolling. And the next thing you know, Cami's about to turn 10. She's a July birthday, and the sheep hunt that I had her booked for with Joey Clutch up in Alaska was booked when she was 6, because he was booked out for a long time. I knew this was going to happen. Is what's crazy. I knew it was going to happen. So I've been, raising these young ladies to be ready for that day. It's one of those things you can't. I don't think that you can say, okay, they're 9, let's kill a sheep when they're 10. I think this has to start at birth almost. It's a tough deal, but yeah, so that ball was rolling. And so we jumped on that train.
That's fantastic. So for you, Cami, talk us through your 4. So was the Dall sheep, that was your first hunt, that you the first ram you shot, or was it something else?
The desert was my first one, and then the Dall, and then the Rocky, and the Stone. So
okay.
Yeah, the desert was first, and it was in Van Horn, West Texas, with Jim Breck. And the second one, the Dall sheep, was in Alaska with Joey Clutch. And then the third one was in Montana with Brendan Burns with Yeti.
With Kuyu.
Oh, Kuyu, sorry. And then the last one was in Canada with Stone with Blair and Rebecca Miller.
And we did.
Right on. So now
we got to do that one twice.
Okay.
The Stone.
Okay.
Tell them about that. How long did it? tell them about the 2 hunts.
The first hunt we went, and it took 2 years, right, to get it.
14 days was the first hunt. Took us 14 days. Run through that a little bit.
Yeah, so every day we get up and go look for sheep, and there weren't a lot, so we were kind of...
Was it day 3?
Yeah, something like that. And we saw this ram that they had picked out before we even came, so we went after that. And we kind of couldn't find him for a while, so a couple of days after that we found him, and he was in this little cliff area. So we got to him, and it was about 400, 500 yard shot, like straight uphill. And so when I shot right over his back. And so the next year we went, it was hunting 1 week with one guide, and didn't see anything. And then Blair decided to put us with a different guide for a couple days just to see if we could find anything else.
Who was that?
Hamish Armstrong. And so we, like, as soon as we were riding out to the camp, we saw some sheep, so we were pretty hopeful that we'd see some more. So the next day, we decided to go up to this place where this other guy shot a pretty big ram. So we're hiking up this hill, and he spots one, so we all get down and get set up, and I shoot him broadside.
What was it? About 380 yards.
Yeah.
After 24 days.
You had that Gunworks, Cami. You need to move him out a little further. You got to get him out beyond 500, right? He was a little too close. That's what happened on that first shot, I think, right? So,
gosh,
just kidding.
So the first shot, the first year, we take the rifle back, and the darn thing is 5 inches high.
Oh,
yes. And it's just a heartbreaker because we couldn't figure out what's going on. I mean, she's an incredible shot and just does not miss. And just what a heartbreaker. But if we were knocking them down pretty quick, and I think that the killing that sheep on the 24th day, there was a lot of bonding that went on those 24 days. Man, and then there was a lot of cold and hunger, and there was a lot of heat and sweat and saddle sores, and amazing time with our guides and Ben Hauser and our packer Spencer, and then we got hooked up with Hamish Armstrong, and we met Mark Tiedemann and his family, and we just got to see lots of country, and we rode for hundreds of miles. I can't imagine, 11 hours one day. So with some heartache, there's some character building and some dang sure enough, some bonding, it was amazing. It was pretty sweet when Cami got that stone on the 24th day.
Well, that's one thing about it. It's just to harvest any sheep and to do for them. Yeah. And then throw in COVID on top of it, right? Because you guys had tried for a few years to get up here, and then COVID kept you couldn't get across the border. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I had to get vaccinated, and I had to be 12, right?
Right.
Yeah. So before that, I had to get vaccinated to be able to get into Canada. And COVID kind of pushed us back a little. And
we couldn't get in really at that opener on the stone. And the vaccinations, and then we ran into a little snafu with our passport. Her passport was expired, and so we got in late that first year. But really, we had incredible experience and opportunity. But yeah, so Cami had 3 killed when she was 10 years and 3 months. And
Wow.
so it took us till 13 to get it done, but that's okay. There was a lot of time in between to prepare, and you guys know, y'all are hunters. A lot of the fun of the hunt is preparing and thinking about it and shooting and and enjoying the other sheep that we had already hunted. And so back to that gun works. Tell them about that shot on. So she did have lots of the shots were pretty long. None of them were, let's sit here and watch the sheep for an hour, let them stand up, really get a good age on them and all that. Every single sheep was a rushed deal. And man, she's really good at target acquisition through her scope. And thankfully, so no time was wasted on any of that. But tell them about the bear.
So we had just fleshed the sheep.
Which one?
The Dall sheep. And we're going to rinse it off, all the blood. And so we hung it up in this tree. And we see this bear coming in, like 500 yards maybe. Pretty far. We didn't think it was going to come anywhere near us. But it came right towards the cave. And it got the cave. And our guide was chasing after it, like basically playing tug of war with the bear. And so
literally incredible.
And so my guide was like, Cami, do you want to shoot this bear? And I said yes. So we got everything set up, and the shot was 715 yards.
Wow.
Yeah, just I'm talking about high shoulder. She gets that gun works, and we give her the range. She dials it in, and we get the phone scope going, and just say we actually did some dry firing, right? We do a lot of dry firing. We had her dry fire a couple times, and then loaded one up and said, when you're ready. And have you saw the video? Have y'all seen that video?
Yeah, it's insane. Like it, and he looked like he was moving it. It wasn't like he was bedded or anything either. Like I don't think he was on the dead run or anything, but he was moving too, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I couldn't believe
there
it.
on his haunches, just eating that cape and looking around, and she just high shoulders him and just drops him in his tracks. So and you can see the vapor trail and all. Just if that doesn't sell a Gunworks, I'm not sure what will. But just awesome. We got that Gunworks from our desert guide, Jim Breck Bean. Can I tell a story about that right quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was Cami's first hunt. She was 9, just about to turn 10. Well, we're out there hunting for the desert on outside of Van Horn, Texas. And so that ranch tends to have some aoudad on it, and they're really wanting to get the aoudad out because of the disease. They're concerned about the disease spreading, the pneumonia that they get. And so we can't find the sheep that we're looking for, but we do find an aoudad that's a long ways off. And I'm glassing. I told Jim Breck, hey, Jim Breck, there's an aoudad over here. And he goes, let me see. And so he looks at it and he's like, let's get her warmed up. Cami, you want to shoot this aoudad? And you remember that?
Yes.
So she was pretty fired up. So I figured we were going to put a stalk and get up within a couple hundred yards and shoot the aoudad. Well, Jim Breck said, you mind if she shoots my gun? And I'm like, what is it now? I mean, Cami, are you comfortable with it? She's like, yeah, sure. So he just sets up right there in the middle of the dirt, of the 2-track dirt road. And this thing is way out there. So anyway, he ranges it. It was 780 yards. And he just dials it up and has Cami dry fire a couple times. And she shoots, and he does the same thing that bear did, just drops. And so it was just amazing. And from then on, right, she didn't want to shoot the rifle we brought. She was like, okay, I'm going to
We're taking this thing.
Yeah. So we get that deal done. And then after the hunt, Jim Breck let us take it to Alaska, because 2 months later, we were headed up to Alaska. And he's like, man, if she's confident, let's let her, take that rifle. And so we borrowed it, and then she killed that caribou at 380 yards, wasn't it, Cami?
Yeah, I think so.
And then on day one, which is awesome. And so the guy that solidified the fact the guys up in Alaska were like, okay, this is legit. We're good. She killed that caribou. And then, after the bear shot and all, when we got home, Jim Breck wasn't getting his rifle back. We'll just say that. So we used it on every hunt. It's kind of like her right arm now.
Well,
so it's
so I was going to say that gun's dialed in. When you ran up to us in Reno in the booth, and you showed us the video of the bear, like, I don't think you guys are selling it enough. Like, in its tracks, that bear just one shot, curled over, dropped. And then you skip the best part of the whole story when Cami looks back at the phone and you're recording her, and that's what he gets for stealing my sheep or stealing my hide. Just one of the most perfect moments I've ever seen on camera. Just this young girl dropping a tank of a grizzly on her sheep, and then that's what he gets. It was perfect. It sticks in my head. I love it.
That whole deal was just insane, right? I mean, Cami looked at me, and you can hear in that video, he's stealing the sheep. And I was like, yeah. And she is, really? Were you heartbroken?
Yes. I was probably about to cry, honestly.
So I was like, Cami, it's okay. This story, the video, the experience we're getting here is worth way more than a sheep hide. I mean, and man, have we gotten some mileage out of that deal. It is just those are the kind of experiences you get when you spend a lot of time out in the mountains. There's a lot of
absolutely
there's a lot of there are a lot of people that, which is unfortunate, that have a problem with. It's funny, how you get that internet hate a little bit on this kind of stuff. It's kind of bizarre, but they're like, what? Can't you just take her on a rabbit hunt or go kill her a black bear or something? And, it's like, yeah, we can, and we have. But the experiences that we're getting up in these mountains in the country these sheep live in, and the hundreds of miles horseback, and the so many nights in the tent that we share, and just, I'm not saying that you can't get those experiences in a deer blind in Texas, but that's our deal too. We love that just as much, don't we, Cami?
Yes.
We're just living our life, we're just so blessed to get to share this hunting passion. And my wife, Carly, is such an amazing person for helping us get this done, frankly, helping us. Because, gosh, there's a lot of roadblocks in hunting, and a lot of those are I hear from the guides, it's the wife that's putting the squash on the hunt a lot of the times. But Cami and Stormy, my now 11-year-old, are eating up with the hunt deal. So it's making me pretty proud. We're enjoying the heck out of it.
That's phenomenal. Cami, I'd like to hear from you. So that this has been a pretty crazy journey when you look at it, what you've accomplished, and a lot of people look at it, and it's pretty inspiring. First of all, just your, pick one. It doesn't really matter, but your age and also the fact that you're a young lady, and you kind of, people don't expect that from a 13-year-old to go out and have accomplished what you've done in such a short time. But there's been a lot of challenges, as we know. So when you look back, when you look at the hunts alone and the sheep and break it down that way, what was the most challenging hunt for you? And I know the stone sheep took forever to get, but which one was the most daunting and most challenging?
Probably the stone sheep. It just took so long, and it was a lot of miles and a lot of days. And I learned pretty quickly that you have to have a lot of grit to be able to do something like that, and a lot of passion. And yeah, I think it's really important for young people and young women too to go out and hunt. And it's even more special to do it with your dad.
Thank you. Man. Goosebump City over here.
That's good child rearing right there, Russell. So Cami, was there ever a time where you thought, I don't think I can do this, when you're in day 24? Was there ever a time where you went, I just don't know if I can do this? Or did you always know that you would get there? Did you ever find that you were kind of questioning yourself?
Well, I always knew that God had a plan for whatever was going to happen. And so whatever happened, I would be fine with it, even if I didn't get a sheep. Because all that time I get to spend with my dad and all that bonding. And just, it taught me to be tough and look out for myself. So
there was a time that sticks out in my memory. There was a big day, and that was day 13 of the stone sheep hunt, the first year we were up there. So the camp that we were hunting was about, was it 6 hours or so ride in from the trailhead. And we got word that the day we're supposed to leave, that the weather's probably going to blow in, and instead of flying us out, we're going to have to ride out. And we'd been riding 5-6 hours a day for 13 days. And so the decision came in, well, from Blair and Rebecca to Ben, our guide, over the satellite phone. Hey, here's the situation. We can fly Cami and Russell out today. It's going to cut them a day short. Are y'all seeing sheep? What's the situation? We're flying some goat hunters in, and it'd be a perfect opportunity to get them on that plane and get them out of there before this weather hits. Otherwise, they're going to have to ride out. And so I was in camp, and Cami was still in the tent getting ready, and I was at the cookhouse there, and we had this discussion. All right, here's the situation, Russell, and we need to kind of make. We have an hour or so to make the decision because the flight's coming in, and we could leave, eat a breakfast, gather our stuff up, and fly out today, or y'all can hunt today, and we're gonna have to ride out tomorrow. And so I was like, well, let me go run it by Cami and see what she thinks. And frankly, I was feeling like we're probably gonna have to do round 2. I was already kind of feeling that. You know how it gets when you're halfway through the hunt, you start losing hope, and I just had to keep reminding myself that just keep grinding like I have my entire life, and like I did on that sheep hunt when I was 10, just keep grinding. And I went and told Cami, we had the discussion, and she said, okay, let me get it straight. So we fly out today, we're cut a day short of hunting, or we ride out tomorrow and we can hunt today. And I was like, that's it. That's the choice. Well, we're hunting. Let's go. We're hunting. And I played it off all cool, but when I turned around to head back to the cook shack, my hair was standing on end with goosebumps and pride, and like, this isn't just a thing. This is a culture, if that makes sense. It's no longer just an idea. It's in the blood. And I'm sitting here, my legs are getting goosebumps just sitting here thinking about how proud I am of that decision. And it was an easy one for her, with no pressure from me. It was a long week. We were done, but the grind kept going. And that day we actually saw some sheep, and my goodness, they were 7 years old. And for the listeners, they got to be 8. And they were 7, and we just smiled, and we enjoyed the heck out of that day, didn't we? And guess what happened? The next day, the weather broke, and we flew out. And like Cami, like you're saying, God has a plan for us, and it's a lot of sheep hunting in that plan.
That's fantastic. So when you look at yourself, Cami, and what you've achieved over these last few years, people undoubtedly look at you as a role model, and certainly young female hunters I would imagine would be at the top of that list, but not exclusively either. Do you feel like you are a role model for young people and young female hunters? Do you look at yourself in that light?
I do. And it's also, my sister always tells me, like, she looks up to me and she's just so proud of me and stuff. And so I really feel like proud of myself whenever she tells me that. So I think, I could be a role model to other people. And I feel like, especially since I'm a young girl and hunting is a really big part of my life, it's just really important for that to be like something in my life, I guess.
That's fantastic. So, is there any sibling rivalry? How does is Stormy hot on your heels to break your record, or what does that look like? What's this? I'd like to be at the Cunningham table over this discussion around sheep hunting and see what that sounds like. It'd be pretty cool.
Well, her Dall sheep was much bigger than mine, so she makes sure to tell me that. But, yeah, I think she is interested in the slam, but she also wants to do maybe like an elk slam or something else different, just so it's not like the exact same. But I think there's definitely some rivalry between us.
That's pretty cool. So where do you go from here? So you're 13 years old. You've ticked the box. You've got your slam, your FNAWS. Phenomenal accomplishment, and really blowing any other record out of the water when we look at anyone else that's tried to achieve that. What's next? Do you have any hunting goals for yourself, or you're just enjoying the ride now?
I really want to get a Marco Polo and also maybe a lion, but we're actually going to Africa this June, so we might not get a lion, but definitely a Cape buffalo and some plains game. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
I don't know that we're hot on the heels of Maddie Damaski, but man, she's one of the ladies that we look up to. Who else are some of your amazing women role models, Cami?
Definitely Jana Waller. I watch her show a lot, and it's just really inspiring. And also Christy Titus. And when I was on this women's hunt panel in Vegas,
in Reno.
Reno. I met this girl. She was 13 also. Her name is Brooklyn Whitfield, and she was also really inspiring to me. And Renee Thornton also led that. So all of those women are really inspiring to me.
You guys know Brooklyn, huh? Scott Whitfield.
Yeah,
gosh, she won. Yeah, she won the oldest ram at y'all's Kamloops convention this year.
Yeah, at Alberta's, in Edmonton,
Yes.
exactly, phenomenal. Yeah, what a beautiful ram, and I knew we know Scott pretty well. I don't know Brooklyn very well, but yeah, very cool accomplishment too. But to mention those people's names and have your name associated with that, that's a pretty cool list to have your name associated with, right?
Yes.
Pretty
There's a
cool.
lot.
So now,
Yeah, go ahead.
with you, Russell, your girls have done phenomenal. Like these accomplishments, what they've done at such a young age. Is it all about the girls? Is it all about? And obviously, it's all about family. I get that. That's not the question. But are you thinking about yourself and some of the hunts you want to do, or is it all about seeing these girls do live in their wildest dreams when it comes to their sheep hunting or hunting in general, I guess?
I think right now, my wife Carly and I are we've made that kind of shift, and it's that the stages of hunting, right? The 4 stages that the big time Africa guides talk about. I'm in that 4th stage, I feel, where I'm just along for the ride, and getting up and watching that sunrise is as important to me as shooting a trophy. And so I'm in that stage right now that I'm just kind of grinding for the girls. I'm working hard to afford all this, because frankly, it's not a trust fund deal. I can, I'm really carrying a little extra weight because of all this, but I feel it's important, and the most impressionable years are right now with these young ladies. And if my wife and I aren't putting the time in with them, then they're going to get it somewhere, and it's probably at school, and which is fine, but I want to be the one that's making that big impression on them. And so really my goals are just to keep doing hustling until they graduate, and man, it's going to happen quick. And then next thing you know, they're going to be on to their lives, taking their children. And so maybe when that day happens, I'll be back to chasing 200-inch mule deer, and maybe our Marco Polo can be together when Cami's got a job and she can help me go financially. So yeah, I'm just grinding for the girls, frankly, right now, and it's amazing. It's way better than it could ever be if it were my hunt. And so it's just, we're having a great time, and just living our life in the country here, and trying to be good Christians, and the work ethic is what I'm trying to instill in these young ladies. And I think that's already happened, and at this point I'm just sitting back and watching them flourish, watching them blossom.
Your track record's pretty good so far, so congratulations to you and your wife and your family on that, Russell.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. So what's the plan? What's the hunting plan now? So you've got your slam out of the way. What's on the plan for do you have a spring hunt planned or a fall hunt? What's going on? Africa's next. Is that the next trip?
Yes, and I've also always wanted to get a fanon, so it's a Dall sheep and a stone sheep combined, so that'll be a cool add-on to my slam. But yeah, so far Africa is our next hunt. Yeah, I really want to go all around the world hunting. Be pretty amazing to see all the sights.
Where in Africa are you guys headed?
Tanzania.
We're going to the eastern part, near the lake with the big flamingos, the Rift Valley area, the Maasai culture. And so a big part of that, my wife is wanting to expose the girls to the way other folks live, and not just on a safari, just laying them down. We're going to try to dive into that Maasai culture and see how other people live in this world. So that's going to be the fanning. She and I were talking about the fanning, and we talked to Brendan Burns about that, and we've kind of got something figured out up that way, and it may be 3 or 4 years or so, but that's going to be waiting on us. And then I'm taking Stormy to Alaska for moose and bear in September, so I'm super pumped about that right now.
How close is Stormy to the Super 10? I know you kind of hinted at that earlier.
Yeah, so she needs about six more animals for that, and so it's the shadow that Cami's casting on Stormy is quite large, and then the burden is on me. How can I reproduce something like this for Stormy? And it's just kind of working itself out. When we were in Vegas at the Grand Slam Club convention, we were talking, to one of the outfitters there, and they were just listening to the girls talk about their stuff, and they were thinking, there's a Super 10 list here. She's just checking off all these deals. And so Stormy grabs the sheet, comes, finds me, and said, hey, this is something that might be my thing. And I want to be, I want a goal. And so I think that's where we're going to, drive that ship in that direction of the Super 10 for Stormy. So it's exciting to get other people excited about this, young ladies and these goals. And I think by getting the word out, and Cami was on the panel, the women's hunt panel in Reno that Renee Thornton invited her on with Christy Titus and Jana Waller and Brooklyn Whitfield. And by doing that kind of stuff, we're getting the youth. I feel like we're getting the youth and the dads and the moms to start thinking about this kind of stuff. Like, it's possible. You don't have to wait till you're 25, 30, 40 to go on these kind of hunts if you can afford it. And if you can't, there's other avenues. You can go work you can draw, you can, there's all kinds of different ways. If it's a priority, you can get it done. And I think that what Cami and Stormy and Brooklyn and these young ladies are doing is inspiring. And I've heard from lots of dads that, wow, this is something that we really can do, and hadn't even thought about bringing my 10-year-old on these adventures. And now they're one of my great friends, Tyler Wildy, and his wife Sarah have a son that killed a deer with us this year that's 6. And he just booked a Dall sheep hunt for when his son turns 10. And so we're seeing this stuff happen, and it's pretty cool, huh, Cami?
Yes. It's definitely inspiring, and just to see that other people want to do and want to hunt.
Yeah.
It's just really cool.
It is cool.
That's phenomenal. I can't wait to see where you go from here, and keep a close eye on this North America 10, and then I think the Super 10, and that North America 29 is not too far off. So might have a couple of extra weeks of work for you there, Russell, to get that
right.
North America 29. But it's pretty cool. So
maybe that point, maybe they'll be on there. They've made the choices, hopefully, in life that can allow them to afford that kind of thing. Yeah, to finish out their 29 would be awesome. I guess it's 28 now, right? One of the caribou's off the list, I heard, but anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, it certainly is inspiring. And I think I just looked at our membership list and I don't see your name on there, but you killed a BC Stone there, so I think I'm gonna have to buy you a membership, Cami. So I think I'll reach out to you guys, and I'm gonna get you and Stormy set up for a membership. I'm not gonna buy your dad one. I'll let him decide whether or not he wants to, but we'd love to have you on our membership list if we could get you there. So if you guys are cool with that, we'll get you and Stormy set up with a couple of memberships to the Wild Sheep Society BC.
Our family would love to do that, and we will be back. That is the most beautiful hunt, most beautiful place that I personally have ever been, and I've been around, to around the world, and I will always come back to BC, and I hope Cami. Well, you gonna go back, Cami? You think?
Definitely.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
Well, and you definitely hit it out of the park with Blair and Rebecca. They do such a great job. Stone and Folding Mountain Outfitters got such a great reputation. Blair and Rebecca do such a great job. So you definitely got treated well here in BC. We know that, and it's pretty cool that you got to experience. And that part of the world is just phenomenal. That's driving through Stone Mountain Park, just getting there is an experience, right? So it's pretty phenomenal.
I think we saw probably close to 100 plus waterfalls. And the family that we have now, extended family with Blair and Rebecca, after spending all that time in and out of their camp and with their amazing guides. And it's the BC is tugging at me. It's like my Texas, man. It's like I can feel it, It's a special place y'all have up there.
Yeah, we agree with you. It's a lovely part, and I guess that's why we get up and do what we do up here on the conservation side of things. Is just that love for, we don't take it for granted. We work pretty hard to make sure that we do our best to make sure those sheep are happy and the habitat they have is happy. So it's really exciting when we get people like you that come up and spend time, 24 days to be precise, and get to experience the what BC has to offer, and hear that it means as much to you guys as it does to us up here too. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I do want to add that we do feel the weight of hunting being a conservation tool, and the biggest conservation tool, and the gravity that we feel after being a part of this amazing slam that I've gotten to come along for the ride, frankly, on, that we do feel the gravity and the need for conservation and the preservation of wild sheep, and we love those sheep. We love the sheep, and we love the country that they live in, and the people we get to meet because of the sheep. My doors are opening wide, and man, at Cami, at these young ladies' age, the doors are flying open, and the people we're meeting along the way it's just such an amazing thing, and it's hard to put into words. And for those that are thinking, well, I'm going to wait till my kid's 25, whatever. Just don't wait. Take them. Even if they're not pulling the trigger, take your 10-year-old, let them come along with you and look through the binoculars and be cold and be hungry and be tired and have blisters and be away from mom and be rugged and be rewilded. Let's get these kids motivated, and let's turn this weird world around a little bit here.
That's pretty sage advice, Russell. I think that sets the tone for wrapping this up. And I just want to congratulate you both. Russell, you for raising two fantastic young women that are an inspiration, and certainly Cami for all that you've accomplished. And I'm just really excited to see what comes out of this camp next. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what you guys do. And I want to congratulate you and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys very greatly, and we're all over this membership too. Thank y'all.
Just one.
Yeah.
Well, just one last question: is that film available somewhere that people could watch Cami's slam? Be nice to show that to the kids. And
Yes, that's right. That's Ryan Olson that put that together with Whitebone Creations, and it's if you search "family bond youngest female to complete Grand Slam of wild sheep," it's on YouTube, and then. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Or search youngest female to kill the Grand Slam of wild sheep under Whitebone Creations. And we're thankful to Ryan for that.
We'll grab the link to it and we'll post it in the show notes here so that people can watch that, because it's a great. I just love the theme of that. It's so heavy on family, right? It's a hunting film, but it's more about family than anything.
Absolutely,
so
my
cool.
dad's in it talking, and man, he's on the verge of tearing up through some of it. It really is just a tearjerker and an amazing deal. It's fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us today, and we appreciate you.
Okay, we'll talk to y'all down the road.